Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, there's 295 days until Christmas 2021. And today we've got all kinds of topics to discuss. And as usual, on Thursdays, we have our friend Imagic Maker from Reimagining Star Wars here. And we're going to just kind of work through a really packed agenda and see where the discussion takes us. So, Imagic Maker, hey, I saw your video this morning about Hera being in Rangers. That's one of our topics today. So give us a brief rundown of your video. Again, your link to your YouTube channel is in the description here for anybody who wants to go see that.
Yeah, I just lay out this kind of the story evidence of why Hera isn't replacing Cara Dune.
And by that, I think you mean like exchange.
Yeah,
right?
like there's an exchange. Like Hera's character is not being replaced by, or Cara Dune's character is not being replaced by Hera. That was never the intent. I think they just released basically that Hera is in Rangers of the New Republic and is one of the female leads, so kind of as a distraction, and that's being conflated with replacement.
I'm going to put a link video about Hera in Rangers. Here we go. So let me just bring up the agenda today so folks can follow along with what we're discussing. And the first topic was, will Rangers be a Hera show? Will it revolve around Hera? Will she be the central figure? And we're not talking here about replacing Cara Dune, but will she be the central figure for the show? And I think you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's gonna. I think she was always intended to fill the role of what she's going to fill in Rangers. And I don't know if it's exactly centered on her, but I think that she will be part of a team that it is centered on.
Yeah.
I think the dynamics will be much like it was in Rebels. She'll have important roles, and she'll fill that important need for that series.
Excellent. And Everyday Geeks, hello, welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your support. Yeah, you went as far as to say you think that Rangers of the New Republic is the Rebels sequel show.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think for the most part, that is exactly what it'll be. Now, I think you're going to have some characters that are going to jump in between, but I think we've been told that already. So there'll be some interchange between shows. So
the rumor in the past has been that, and this comes from the folks at Kessel Run Transmissions, that the Rebels animated sequel was actually pulled, and that content was put into the Ahsoka series. If that's the case, and hello, Bob. But if that's the case, then there seems to be some conflicting information. If the Rebels sequel series is the Ahsoka is brought into the Ahsoka show, then it wouldn't seem to fit that it would be in the Rangers show.
Yeah, so I think the Ahsoka show is probably only going to be about 6 to 8 episodes, and then it's going to end. So,
really?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a continuing thing. I think that there are going to be some setup in Mandalorian season 3, and then a one go for Ahsoka, and that'll lead into Rangers.
Well, and Burke the Nerd, hello. He was my teammate, and we've had some great discussions on the Debate 8. It's always fun to have Burke here. And Leah, hello, welcome. People are not going to be shocked, but I'm going to disagree with you wholeheartedly on all of your points above.
I'm not surprised.
That's why we're here. So I think that the Ahsoka show, as the Kessel Run folks have said, is going to be the sequel to the Rebels, and that it will be a multi-season deal. I think Ahsoka series is intended to be another multi-season show, and then Rangers, I think, was originally meant to be about just kind of following dust ups and chasing. It's a police show, right? As you would have like Texas Rangers or Marshals, I think it was intended to be that kind of show where they're going and cleaning up stuff and dealing with dust ups in the galaxy. So I don't think it was Hera centric, but you raise a couple of fascinating points in your.
No, I think that she was always going to be there, and the reason being is because she is General Syndulla, and she was running these different squadrons like Alphabet Squadron, and so I can't, and there's no way that Cara Dune was going to run everything from Navarro. I mean, she was going to have to travel, and she wasn't going to be flying around in an X-wing. They were going to have some sort of transport that fits that criteria. We have, even though I don't talk about it in my video, we have Carson Teva who says there's something going on out here, and I think that point of that is exactly what Hera is going to be investigating and drawing nearer to, while Ahsoka is investigating where Ezra and Thrawn is, and then and we've already gotten the hint that what occurs with Ezra, and them going to get Ezra is some point after. So we still have Ahsoka the Gray in the Mandalorian. We don't have Ahsoka the White, and that's been hinted that was after that piece of that epilogue of Rebels occurred after what we saw in the Mandalorian. So. If that's the case, if that's what's happened, then what we're going to get is the transition of Ahsoka from Ahsoka the Gray to Ahsoka the White, and when she comes back and she gets Sabine, and so but she doesn't come back and get the rest of them.
No,
she's flying off on her own ship.
Right.
So Sabine's one character, and so is Hera. I don't disagree with that, but I mean, there's got to be a point where you had, more likely than not, Sabine with Hera and Jason and Chopper, and I think that originally they were going to have Zeb and Callus be off traveling to the world of the Lasats. I can't remember the name of it, but the hidden world, and but now I think they're probably going to bring them back. I think that's the change of what we're going to have in writing, unless some miracle occurs and they decide to hire Gina Carano back, and after Kathleen Kennedy retires, which is probably this year.
Yeah. So it looks like you've stacked the deck today in the folks here in the chat, because everybody's agreeing with you. Pretty much. And hello, Mike Porter. Good.
Thank you all. It's a very rare. You're probably all wrong. I'll let you know that he gets these right more often than I do.
So Bob came right out and just said Hera was always going to be in the series, even if Gina wasn't fired, which is exactly your point. And I think Everyday Geeks was saying, Hera was always going to show up. A younger Jason could have been there as a trainee. And so folks seem to be siding with you quite a bit here. But Leah brings up a couple points here that folks are looking through the lens of Marvel. And, I think that there's some validity to that, though, Leah, that they kind of learned that from the Marvel universe, that if you take each of these characters and build them out in their own story arcs, you do the character development and the story development in a serial way, then you could come together in really large movies, and rather than just try to do large movie after large movie, and that seems to be what's going on. But when you say limited series like Mandalorian, they're going to season 3, but I don't think there's a definitive end date to that. Like I originally heard it was scheduled for 4 seasons, but I don't know if that's still on the table or not.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be shooting 3 and 4 back to back. So that's my understanding. So whenever they start shooting 3, they will also continue on to shoot 4.
That very well could be, but will there be a 5, 6, 7?
I don't think we'll know that until 4 is done shooting, right?
Right.
My personal thought process is no, that they will have definitive closeout times for these, as opposed to stories that are going like sitcoms where they go until the popularity runs away, and then they're like, well, I guess we gotta close this sitcom down. Friends is over. Let's have a new show.
Well, I mean, you could, if you folks keep talking about the Marvel lens, I mean, you could, not that it was a successful show, but there was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was a multi-season show. And it ended because it was bad and nobody watched it. But Anthony Tano, hello.
No, but I think if we follow the process of what they tried to do with what they did with Rebels and what we're going to do with Clone Wars, they had a set number of seasons, and so they had a set number of shows, basically what they planned on doing, but they were going to end it all. It wasn't going to go on forever, and I think that's the way that Filoni works. So if we look at his previous works with outside of Star Wars with the Last Airbender, Avatar: Last Airbender, then we see that there's a distinct story that has a distinct end. Mm-hmm. And so I just think that's his MO, and I think that's what he thinks is the best way. That way you're crafting a story that's not open-ended. You actually have your acts and you're closing them off, and you're not just trying to suck as much money out of the viewers as you can through continuing showing people until people are tired of them.
Well, I think you have a good point there about as far as having all these Rigamonti. Did Santa just say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was bad? Unsub. Hilarious. But
I'm surprised you didn't say off with your head.
I'm not a Marvel guy, and if you weren't led to unsub off of that comment, I'm not all that hyped about the season finale of WandaVision tonight in the morning. Whenever I was like, okay, the season will end. We'll move on to the next. I'm curious what's going to happen, but
I haven't watched one single episode.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
I mean, I like Marvel, but I'm a bigger old comic book fan of Marvel than I am of the MCU. Yeah. Oh, God forbid, I guess. Please don't unsub me too.
I'm a DC guy, so I never really read Marvel comics. I never really liked them, but that's me. But get back to the point. I think all these spin-off series from Mandalorian may support the argument that these series are all intended to be limited. To go back to what Leah was saying, that they're really scheduled to be limited. They have a story to tell, as you're saying. And when those stories run their course, we move on to the next one as we build up to a big universe. But, or a big, kind of movie culminating event, which I think has been the assumption, right? We're going to build towards a big, epic kind of showdown. And right now, that presumption is it's going to be Thrawn, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if Rangers ends up being the Rebels in live action, let's just say, then Kessel Run has it wrong, and I think that it's more likely that the Ahsoka show was intended to be that, and that Dave has been writing that series as such, and then Rangers ends up being some other
side by side. But
I just think they got their wires crossed. I don't think they're completely wrong. I mean, Dale brought up this point earlier. He was saying that they'll both have elements of it in there, and so in a way, you can say they're both sequels, to Rebels. And I don't know if I completely agree with him, but I like the idea of being somewhat accommodating.
Yeah, Bob says it'll be 25 seasons of Mandalorian so that it leads up into the sequels.
It'll culminate with the world between worlds where we find out everything's not real at all. We're back. We're sitting in George. We're sitting in George Lucas's office, and he's writing the original Journal of the Wheels. We're like, hey, this is all in one man's imagination. How about that?
Yeah. So let's see, Mike Porter. Mike, I think eventually Star Wars Disney Plus shows will have great stories with iconic characters that came from animation. At some point, the stories will take over. That's the hope. Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. And you go back to see what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in those gallery episodes. They really are taking these second tier or third tier characters and building stories around them that fit in universe. And that's where you get like IG-11 brought in, you get IG-88, whatever. So those things are all being built out because those characters were already introduced, but the stories were never developed. And introducing a new character like Din Djarin or Grogu are supported by those other characters that were sort of introduced, which again kind of goes to support what you've been saying, a Magic Maker, on Hera Syndulla was in the original trilogy, right?
Yep.
So General Syndulla, please report to Hangar Bay, whatever it was, right?
Yep. Well, it's in Rogue One, so.
Oh, Rogue One. I was thinking it was in. Okay, yeah, Rogue One. So if that's going to be the case, and that kind of leads us, we can skip over the Rian Johnson quote and go to the Andor series.
We can still talk about our Rian Johnson quote, or we can come back to it if you want.
We'll come back to it. So in any event, I'm really, really curious to see how these two series, Rangers and Ahsoka, distinguish themselves with the characters that have an overlapping. They seem to be running in parallel.
Yeah, I think they're kind of running in parallel, but one is distinctly looking for something, and I think there's a twist to the Thrawn thing. I really do think there's. I mean, I don't think it's as easy as they're just fighting the Grisk, though that might be. I just think there's a twist to it. I really do think that there's something that we're not seeing, and that actually Rangers is going to take us in a different direction than what we it's probably Rangers, in my opinion, is probably going to take us more along the sequel direction than Ahsoka will.
Well, I find your theory fascinating and really well supported to say that Rangers with Hera is Rebels in live action. It makes total sense. It just conflicts with the other information we had. The Rebels live action was in the Ahsoka series. And you might be right. They might just have their wires crossed. As you're getting leaks and rumors from people, you're not getting official news stories, not official releases or information from the producers. You're getting it from set people in ancillary kind of positions, and they're putting pieces together. So it's very well possible.
Yeah, usually where you get like these kind of leaks is that people see some concept art and those kind of things, and they try to put the story together.
Yeah, or my cousin was working on the set for this, and they overheard that, right? Right. That kind of stuff. XR Coon, you made it. Hello. and Everyday Geeks. Yeah, I'm not really into multiverse alternate timeline theory either. And a Magic Maker and I were talking about it briefly just before the show. And I posted on Twitter a few days ago that I went back and watched the World Between Worlds episode a third time and really paid attention to the part where Ezra and Ahsoka are standing there, and Ezra's getting ready to pull or he wants to pull Kanan out, and Ahsoka says, "You can't, or you will all die." And she says, "Just as you can't save your master, I can't save mine." Or she may have said it the other way around. "I can't save my master, you can't save yours." But that's so she says that, and it led me to believe that she meant you, not you in that other universe. That if he were to pull Kanan out, that he would die, literally, right on the spot. That could be the case. And that means that there is only one timeline, and any alteration you make affects the timeline. And so
Right.
he would have just been gone.
Yeah, but we talked about this, and it's like crucial decision points, and maybe it's crucial decision points of life and death. So like one is where one dies, and the other is where one doesn't, and so I don't know. So I mean, the reason why Ezra sees, maybe it's different. Like if let's say Ben Solo walked into the world, world between worlds, or Luke Skywalker walks through the world between worlds, and there maybe the windows that open up are different windows. And maybe it's all the decisions that led, life and death decisions that led to the person who's in there. So it's a point of view kind of situation.
Oh, I see. So because Ezra was looking, well, I don't know if that fits, because you hear, there's a point where you can hear even Rey.
Sure. I mean, you hear Ben Solo or Kylo Ren, and you hear all these other stuff too through
Right.
there. I'm not saying there's not this overlap of sound and things like that. So it's the idea behind it is that there's worlds layered upon worlds. It's not that, but your point of view, the windows that open for you,
I see.
are the windows for the decisions that your life and death decisions will determine in the future, and your life and death decisions that were determined in the past to make you be where you're at.
Yeah, we really don't have a lot of information about the precise way it works. And the other thing that we talked about briefly was, it raised a question in my mind when Ahsoka said, "Just as you can't save your master, I can't save mine," or as I can't save mine and you can't save yours. I'm thinking, wait a minute. At this point, she knows that Anakin is Vader. She just saw that, right?
Right.
When she slashed open his helmet.
Right.
So it leads to the baby Hitler question, right? And this is what we talked about before, but we'll bring it in here. Like, had Ahsoka been able then to use the world between worlds to try to intervene in a decision point Anakin had made, or that she had made with Anakin? Maybe she stays in the Jedi Order or something like that. It's really unclear what you can do. And would you be able to go back and eliminate
baby Palpatine,
baby Sheev, right?
Yeah, baby Sheev.
or you do something that keeps Sheev from ever going into politics.
Right.
You get to a decision point where he made that turn and followed our favorite Mun, who is no longer, that story isn't, the book isn't canon anymore. But anyway, when Sheev joined
Plagueis.
Plagueis, it went the political route, right?
Right.
Maybe
so you trip Sheev, and he falls before he ever meets Plagueis. And Plagueis just keeps walking on by.
Yeah, or you turn his eye to a pretty girl, and he gets married and lives happily ever after. Or something. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's just that the choices. Like I said, what I was saying, that really what it comes down to is a removal from the choice. So there's a life and death decision, right? That leads and then the only thing you can do is remove them from that choice. So in both cases, Ahsoka's trying to escape. Vader's attempting to kill her. She can fight and die or escape. That's her choice, and try to live. And so he removes her from. And then the same is true for about Kanan's choice. His choice is to try to live and hopefully save the and see if he can do it without sacrificing himself, or sacrifice himself to guarantee that the others live.
Yeah.
And he chooses that life and death decision. He chooses to die to guarantee the success.
Yeah,
with the lives of the others.
It raises interesting questions. And Park Outdoors, hello. He commented on here. Would the Force create an equal reaction to the action we created? We went back in time. That's the question about Baby Grogu, right? Like Grogu and Anakin are approximately the same age. They're the same years old in any event. Did the Force do something that created Grogu in reaction to Anakin being born? Who knows? And we have a new visitor, Jason. Hello, welcome. Good to see you here, Jason. Thanks. I think she would just take control of another way, right? Right. If he's going to follow, Plagueis, he's going to follow Plagueis. So, Anthony, guys, I want your opinion. Replacement of Cara Dune for Rangers, Hera Syndulla or Aya Sakura. Well, we've talked about that just a little bit before you joined us, Anthony. I think that Rangers and a Magic Maker's theory and his video, it mentions that it's going to essentially be Rebels in live action.
Yeah, Rebels 2.0.
Yeah, it'll be. That's what you put on the thumbnail, yeah. Right? So, it'll be Hera and the Ghost crew going out after, whatever the things they need to, putting out fires, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think that you're saying here that it's going to be that, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to be doing that. They're just going to be doing it all on the Ghost, and then slowly but surely they'll work their way toward the mystery of what Carson Teva teased as being something more going on in the Outer Rim.
And Jason, you're the second person that's commented about Super Saiyan and Ryan Kinnell having a little dust up. I'm unfamiliar with this dust up.
Yeah, me too. I know that Ryan Kinnell's come. I've seen his name come up a couple of times. I know he's like.
I've watched some of Ryan. Yeah, I've watched some of Ryan's stuff. He's been really part of the DC. He was pushing for this Snyder Cut thing.
Okay.
But he's part of the Fandom Menace folks there as well. So there we go. And Mark said if he made Ryan Kinnell mad, he should be applauded. Give him a medal. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I'm not going to pick sides. But anyway, it's great to have you all here. So the next thing was Rian Johnson was quoted about saying that when he and JJ were handing off between Force Awakens and Last Jedi, and then Last Jedi back to Rise of Skywalker, there was no plan to kill off Ben Solo. So if that's the case, what are your first thoughts on that?
So my reading of it was that he was fully aware that Kylo was going to die, but not Ben Solo. So the idea of, I guess you could say, a redemption arc had always been part of the whole thing. And maybe that's why the screenplay that was written by Trevorrow was rejected, because it had no redemption arc for Kylo besides Ben Solo.
Yeah, I think that is part of it, and I think it's been clear that all along that the plan for the sequel trilogy was thin, right? So there was a thin kind of outline, and people will argue about just how thin that line was, but let's just say it was thin. Right?
wet newspaper, wet tissue paper thin.
Well, it's either like fishing line thin, right? Like 5-pound test, or it's a steel cable thin. But in either event, I don't think that we had a real fleshed out story arc in mind. They knew we want to hit on these story beats and had that planned out, but they didn't really have the arc. And as it went, they were filling it out. They were creating the muscle and the sinew and the flesh, right? They were building as they went, and they ended up with a bit of a Frankenstein monster because of it, right? Pieces and parts that were put together, rather than having one, fully planned out, fleshed out story. And so that's what people are noticing. That's what they feel. And either you like it or you don't. That's sort of neither here nor there. But I think this is just further evidence of that that truth. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to have to cut off here. I have a message that's just come in. It's going to require my immediate attention. So I'm going to have to depart.
Okay. If you get a chance to join back in, please do. But for other folks, a Magic Maker, join him on Sunday evenings. Tell us about the time and what you're doing there Sunday evenings.
Yep, 8 p.m. Central Time in the U.S. We always have a fan fiction reading. We don't always read fan fiction, but we always try, and we always have really good, interesting conversations where we help each other with fan fiction. So there is that. And so even if we don't necessarily read it, we definitely try to help each other build it. And so they're very good conversations, and I love them, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And we'd love to have more people there to join us.
Very good. And if you get a chance, join us back. But you guys go check out a Magic Makers Discord. That's where you can get involved in these discussions. And thanks so much. So I did see the question before, Anthony, you asked, are Ahsoka and Ayla Secura the same character? No, they're different people, right? They're different. There's always the question that my friends always ask me, wasn't Ahsoka killed in the prequels? And no, that was a different Twi'lek, right? Twi'lek, whatever. That was a different one. So they in fact, it was a Twi'lek that was killed, not a Togrutan. And Park Outdoors is right. Like Ayla is a Twi'lek, Ahsoka is a Togruta. So they are different species. But even within there are other Togrutans that you see in the prequels who get killed, and it's not Ahsoka. So they're just there's some similarities, but they're not the same character. So there you go. And it's already been answered. Yeah, they both have similarities, right, as far as Leku and all that. Ezra's way more interesting. Yeah, I saw what you were talking about, Everyday Geeks. I don't know that I buy Rebels is better than Clone Wars. For me, I prefer Clone Wars, but that's just your opinion. Oh, that's good. So let's see. Okay, I just want to get caught up. So we talked a little about Rian Johnson's quote, and I think that just gave further evidence that there wasn't a fully fleshed out story. Look, I'm a huge sequel trilogy fan. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not saying it was perfect by any means, but as far as Star Wars goes, and as far as the story goes, it hit on all the points that I really enjoyed. There are some things that I would have changed myself, my own version of it, but for what it is and what it gave us, I'm overall pleased with it. Other people, not so much, and that's absolutely fine too. And I've spent a lot of time defending the sequels to folks, and the same thing towards the prequels, right? They're not my favorite, and people will defend it. And I'll say, here are the things I didn't like, but that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying that it looks like, as far as Ben Solo's death is concerned, that wasn't part that was fully fleshed out. And we last week we talked about how Rey was a nobody before she was a somebody. And that's not at all unprecedented in Star Wars. And I think that what we've seen in the Lucasfilm story group is that they've matured. They're kind of changed. Now they are fleshing out stories more. They are building them out more. And much, much credit goes to Filoni and Favreau That's where folks are really putting their trust, their faith, and their excitement is in the work that they are doing, that they are leading, they're kind of orchestrating. So good on them, and good on Kathy Kennedy for bringing them into and putting them together and giving them the resources to do what they're doing. So we'll just leave it there. So I see you guys bringing on some other stuff. Jason, you started at Super Saiyan. I'm out of the loop. I'm completely out of the loop. That's fine. Hawks Holocrons, hello. Ahsoka's pretty much Ezra in the original Clone Wars pitch. Well, Ezra is for sure Space Aladdin. And I don't know that Ahsoka ever came across as sort of this street rat. She was a young, headstrong, arrogant Padawan who came on to be trained with Anakin. So there's that. Let's see. Prequels. Okay. All right. So there you go. The next Andor series, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka are both rumored to be coming in as cameos in that series. And I think that's exciting. And again, they're trying to play off of very popular characters to help with the ratings. And Andor was the one that was a head scratcher from the beginning. Like, why are they doing this series? Who's asked for it? Where's the popularity? And I think the popularity is just because Rogue One was so well received that they thought they could go back and tell the backstory of some of these characters. But there was never like any need to do that. They're just trying to play off of it. Well, bringing Obi-Wan in to help tell more of what he was doing, to bring Ahsoka in to tell what she was doing, that sounds great. And what Park's saying about because of Fulcrum connection, right? That makes total sense. And the one thing you got to a little bit be worried about is post Order 66 interactions between Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. These are the things that concern me, not because I don't think the stories could be told, but I think because they're potential landmines. And because the Andor series, to the best of my knowledge, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the Andor series is post Order 66. The assumption there is that Obi-Wan doesn't know that Ahsoka has survived and what she's doing. And if they run into each other again, then it would establish that connection. So I would be a little bit worried to see them interact with one another, either in the Andor or in the Obi-Wan series, to have Ahsoka show up. She's popular and she'll help drive ratings, but she's also a landmine when you start to talk about, well, then where was she? And that's been a question in fandom for a long time. Since Ahsoka shows up in The Mandalorian, we know that she was in that Rebels finale as well, the epilogue scene, that happened after the original trilogy. Well, then where the heck was she? Right? During this great big war that happened between the Rebels and the Empire, what was Ahsoka doing? Where was she? What was she doing? And if she shows up in universe during that timeline, any part, then it just kind of eliminates options. Let's put it that way, right? It narrows things and it makes it really tough to excuse where she is. As long as you leave that question unanswered, and you leave it ambiguous, then people can fill it in however they want. But if she shows up, then it makes it tougher. Let's see. Let me go back. Isaac, hello. You better not make Star Wars Santa mad like you did Ryan roasted. You know, I missed it. You guys, I'm absolutely out of the loop on the Ryan Kennel and Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan's been here before. We get along just fine. So I don't know what he did to provoke Ryan, but there you have it. Anthony, Santa, if they debut Hera in Rangers, does that mean Kanan and Jason debut as well? I suppose you meant Kanan, not Keenan, right? Yeah, Kanan is dead, so he wouldn't be there. But Jason, for sure, you could absolutely, if they make Rangers of the New Republic, as a Magic Maker was suggesting, if they make that into the Rebels 2.0, then absolutely would expect to see Jason Syndulla there as well. And you know, I a Magic Maker makes a really strong point for it. It's just that it conflicts with what we've heard, and I'm really curious to see where it's going to go. Ahsoka makes the most sense in the Andor series because of Fulcrum. Right. Yeah, I already said that. Isn't there a Martell sister cast in Andor? Ooh. I don't know. I don't know about that, Hawk. Hawk's Holocron. I'm not sure. The Martell sister. I saw where they cast a lady to be in the Obi-Wan series, and a lot of people are wondering if that's going to be Satine, Obi-Wan's love interest, who died, but in flashback scenes. So not sure about that. Same thing with Disney, Star Wars. Say what you want, but don't touch Flammiverse, Solo, or Rogue One. You know, people really, XRQ, just to kind of go on this path a little bit. I don't want to go too deep, but people really do kind of roast Disney on their treatment of Star Wars. And I keep seeing these posts about, oh, Disney ruined Star Wars and this and that. But at the same time, people love The Mandalorian in large, right? The fandom as a whole really love The Mandalorian. That's under Disney. A lot of folks really like Rogue One. To me, Rogue One is okay. It doesn't have a high rewatch value for me. So the Rogue One, but if people really love it, that's under Disney. And there are other projects that Disney has greenlight. Lucasfilm has greenlit under the Disney ownership that is popular with the fandom as a whole. So the division really comes primarily around the sequel trilogy. And it's focused mostly, if you just follow that, you know, to its root, most of that follows to the Last Jedi, and then most of that, the real root of that goes to the treatment of Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Other than that, the fandom is more or less the way it has always been, as far as people like certain things better than other things. And I don't know that Disney is the devil that some people want to make them out to be. So that's Santa's take on that. Do you think it could be true that Ahsoka shaved her leg? No, no, Bob. No, it's purely an aesthetics thing and mobility around the live cast, live action Ahsoka. And, you know, people getting upset about her Leku and Mantra being shorter. Look, it's Dave Filoni's character. And just as people defend George Lucas on his decisions in the prequels and the original trilogy, and some of the things that are just head scratchers don't make sense that George Lucas did, well, they give him a bye because, look, he's the creator, right? George Lucas was the creator. He can do with it what he wants. You don't have to like all of it, but he can do with it as he likes. And Dave Filoni is responsible for Ahsoka. She is his creation, and he is it was an integral part of the casting of Rosario Dawson as the live action over Ashley Eckstein, right? Dave Filoni made that choice, not somebody else. And Dave Filoni made the choice on Ahsoka's mantras and Leku. So no, I don't. I don't think that in canon or in universe that she shaved them. I don't think that it works like that. Can we realistically get a pre-Ezra Ghost crew in Andor because it takes place? I think you could. Absolutely, you could. That's an interesting. Will they do it? I don't know. Park Outdoors says, nah. Rebels takes place 1 year after Rebels. Rebels takes place 1 year after Rebels. Oh, you're gonna have to help me on that one, Bob. What? I think you said it back here. I just saw it and it just jumped on me. 1 year after Andor. There you go. Kanan be gone. Yeah. Instead of Kanan and Cal, it's Kanan and Cal. Right? Keenan and Cal. Andor is post Rebels. Leia, if they do not address Satine, I will revolt. I would love to see Satine as part of the Obi-Wan series. Satine and Obi-Wan's love story is one that I would love to see explored more. I thought she could be the second sister. Okay. There's a woman listed in IMDb who looked just like Satine, right? But she's been removed. The actress who's been cast does not look like Satine. Okay. Yeah, I saw this this lady, and she does look like a live action Satine, absolutely. So I hope they do. I'm with you, Leah. Andor takes place 5 years before Rogue One. Andor 5 years before Rogue One, sure. And Rebels takes place 4 years before Rogue One. So that makes Andor 1 year before Rebels. But you know, before Rebels took place, you already had Kanan. So you already had Kanan and Hera and the Ghost were out doing their own missions before they picked up Ezra. So it's possible you could get Kanan, Kanan and Hera, Zeb, in some of their pre-Rebels kind of work with the Ghost. That's possible. You guys are working out the timeline. Ezra was 14 at the beginning of Rebels. Ezra is the same age as Luke Skywalker. So there you go. Comic books, deals and deals. Hello. Hello, my friend. Good to see you here. Very good. You guys are, again, working out. Ashley's, yeah. With his big boy Star Wars lingo. You know, the brain's working a little bit better today. So grew up in the lower levels of Coruscant, right? A lot of people cherry pick when they want to insert any narrative spin. Yes, exactly. It's that bias that we all bring with us, and we tend to look through things through our own filters. That's true. They're going to bring Nissan back with the McGregor. Nissan? Are you doing voice to text everyday geeks? Because Nissan, if Nissan got a deal with Lucasfilm to be part of the Star Wars universe, that would be big. You know, which is the Nissan Rogue? Is that a vehicle? There you go. But I don't think you mean Nissan, right? You mean Liam Neeson. Right, not Nissan with McGregor and de-age him. Then flashback of Obi-Wan. I'm sorry, I went sideways on Nissan. So there you go. Sorry about that. That's me having fun. That person would just kind of look like Satine. Yeah, but good enough for live action for sure. Let's see, where are we? Interesting because we haven't seen a flashback before the Phantom. Right. We could get some of that. Yeah, less North Pole brain freeze today. Yes, thank you, Mark. Imagine a Star Wars Santa without a beard. Oh, Bob, that picture exists. Santa shaved a beard off a couple years ago, and Mrs. Claus was not happy at all. She's like, "Oh my goodness, you got to grow that back." And the elves were like, "Oh no, Santa, you look like a turtle." Oh, you got to grow that back. So, Nissan Hyper. Hey, Super Saiyan, there you are. I'm doing really well. Good to see you here. Thanks so much. Nissan was in Rogue One. Let's see what I did there. Mike Porter. I love you, Mike. Thanks so much. So the next was our Muppet casting. We need to get back to our Muppet cast. So we talked about Andor Muppet casting, Attack of the Clones. So we were talking about this on Discord. And if you haven't joined our Discord, the Covert, we encourage you to do that. And in there, we were talking about And let me see. I think I can do an invite, and I can grab this. And then this one expires, but you guys, there's the a temporary invite to our Discord, and you guys are having fun with Nissan now. There you go. So we've been talking about Muppet casting, and we're going. No, Everyday Geeks, you're going to have to live with that one. That was. We're going to have fun with it, at least for today. That's today. It's Nissan's corporate deal with Lucasfilm to show up in Rogue One. That's great. So we've been working our way through the prequels. We're working our way through all the movies with Muppet casting. And, the Muppets, they did back in the day, one with the original trilogy cast. And they had, of course, Miss Piggy as Princess Leia and all that. And it was great. And they even released some toy figures with Muppets in them. And there you go, Everyday Geeks. Breaking story right there. go get your Nissan stock, right? They've got this deal with Lucasfilm. You heard it here first. So we've been having fun. We went through the Phantom Menace last week. This week we're up to Attack of the Clones. And just for all of you, I went and watched Attack of the Clones again yesterday. Oh my goodness, I still don't like that movie. But it's not as bad as I remembered. I'm warming up to it over time. So we were working through who would we Muppet cast into. Yes, I did shave a while ago. I did. Muppet cast. So the question is, who would you Muppet cast? And we have one of the ones that I really like. We had Jumpin' In Jamie recommended for the temple scene. The younglings there when Obi-Wan comes and says, "Hey, I'm looking for this Cameo." It doesn't show up on the maps, and Yoda's there with the younglings, and he has them look at that map, the star chart, right? And so this isn't the infamous youngling scene. This is the one where they're still alive and doing well. So in here, jumping in, Jamie says the younglings in the temple should be Bean Bunny and the other bunnies. Right, he came from the special tale, the Bunny Picnic, and when they made him a main character, they made a thing being disgustingly cute. So so there you go. I love that. I think the younglings could absolutely be Bean Bunny and the other bunnies. And then we have, of course, where is it here? We've got all the regulars. Let me see if I can bring in here. And we can talk about it. Let me make this bigger. So, can you guys see that? Mike Porter. I try to shave it regularly. Okay. So we've got Captain Panaka, Amidala, right? Who do we Muppet cast? Yeah, Yoda is Yoda, right? Yoda is a Muppet, so Yoda is Yoda. We don't have to redo that one. Star Wars did do a thing with Porsche, but so we have Captain Panaka. I don't know who we would put in there, or Amidala. You've got Teen Amidala, and of course you've got Anakin. So to me, that's got to be Miss Piggy and Kermit, because Kermit and Miss Piggy, that love interest they have, and they get married at the end. So we've got Amidala has to be Miss Piggy, and then we've got Anakin as Kermit, and then Palpatine. People have suggested before that the guy, the older looking grizzled Muppet is Palpatine. And I don't know. Who would you all cast as Muppet cast for Palpatine? Statler. Muppet. Statler. Let me pull that up. I can't picture it. Sam the Eagle is Palpatine. Oh, Statler. Statler is one of the guys in the booth, right? So there you go. Princess Hamidala. There you go, Mark. Very good. Fozzie Bear is Palpatine. I like that. But Fozzie could be Captain Panaka. That could work. Brian Stone, hello, welcome. Fozzie, he makes the galaxy laugh at all his bad jokes. Would that be Palpatine giving bad lines in there all the time? That could be funny. And imagine the reveal. once Fozzie becomes Palpatine, that could be funny. Mace Windu, the Swedish cloners, right? The Kaminoans, right? You got those. Sam the Eagle. Sam the Eagle could absolutely be Palpatine, right? Palps is the evil Kermit from Muppets Most Wanted. Oh, so you double cast? Nah, I'm not with you on that one, Mark. But we could do some of this. What about Jar Jar? Jar Jar could absolutely be Fozzie Bear, right? Because Jar Jar was the comic relief, and if he ends up in here filling in for Padme when she's away, so you could absolutely have Fozzie Bear as Jar Jar. I like that. The band is the Jedi Council. Ooh, aggressively relaxing. Home run. I like that. Gonzo has to be Watto, right? That's Gonzo is Watto. Watto shows up again when they go back. Anakin and Padme go back to save his mother, and so you got to do that. Gonzo is Watto. Lord Gonzo be Lord Dorku. No, Rizzo. Rizzo's in Rizzo Muppet. I got to pull that up just to remind. Oh, it's the rat. Rizzo's the rat. I don't know. Where would we put Rizzo in? Dale, typecasting, right? Instead of mechanic droids, right? You get the chickens. Exactly. Well, you have Zam. Zam is the shapeshifter, right? That tries to kill Amidala, and then he chases it down. So I suppose you could put Rizzo the rat as you have Pago the Lesser. So we do have to talk about the clan leaders, right? Maul isn't in Attack of the Clones, so we don't have that. Rizzo Grievous. Oh, those are good. Maul's dead in presumed dead in Attack of the Clones. So we do have to get in. We haven't talked about Obi-Wan or Windu. Windu in the prequels. I know it was suggested Windu could be Palps, or Eagle could be Palps, but does the Eagle make a better? Right, we'll get to Brian, we'll get to Django and Boba here shortly. So, what do you guys think about Windu? He has a speaking role, a kind of significant role in Attack of the Clones, because he gets to behead Jango Fett. So Yoda is Yoda. Dexter, who do we put as Dexter? And then Jocasta Nu, our librarian. And then Younglings in the Temple, we already talked about. Kaminoans, we talked about. Jango and Boba. So those two, who do you put as the Mace Honeydrew? Honeydrew, let me pull that up so I can see. Honeydrew, the Muppet. Oh, that's okay. That's the scientist, right? So that's Honeydrew. Mace Honeydrew. That's good. So it was suggested Baymax said Dexter should be the Swedish chef. Dooku could be Sam the Eagle. And I kind of like that. I kind of like Sam the Eagle as Dooku. But then that puts us in a weird place back here again. We go back to who is Palpatine, right? So we're still kind of stuck on that and on Obi-Wan. So we're running out of time here. We've kind of hit our time limit. So I'm going to kind of stop here and we'll carry on the discussion. For those of you who are engaged here, we would love to get you in our Discord server where we will talk more about the Attack of the Clones Muppet casting. We could carry on that conversation there. And if you're watching this later, you have suggestions, please put it in the comments. We'll pick it up and talk about there as well. Rolf as Obi-Wan. I love it. Rolf as Obi-Wan. That would be great. Pepe the King Prawn as Dexter. Oh, that's a really good one. I like it because of the accent too. That's really good. So Rolf as Obi-Wan. We'll carry this discussion into Discord, and then next week we get to do a lot of people's very favorite Star Wars movie. We'll go into Revenge of the Sith, and we'll begin to cast for Revenge of the Sith. And so think about your Muppet casting for Revenge of the Sith for next week, and please join us in Discord to discuss the about Muppets in Attack of the Clones. So that would be a lot of fun, folks. I'm talking to you like I'm looking at you, but I just saw yeah, not as into with Rizzo as Maul. Well, but Maul's dead, so there you go. Bert the Nerd, you've joined our Discord. Thanks so much. So let me know what you guys think. In there, yes, we'll be talking more about like General Grievous in there next week as well. So please join our Discord, join the discussion. I've had fun visiting with you again today, and we will be back to talk again soon. So thank you for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoy the WandaVision finale. For me, I'm just curious to see where it's going to go. So until next time, my friends, wish you all have a very happy day, and Merry Christmas, everybody. Bye-bye.